My childhood friend and I were in the same car crash. When I woke up, Leah, the woman I'd loved for years, had amnesia. I was completely unharmed, but my body was now also home to the soul of my grandmother, who'd been gone for years. That little minx, pulling that amnesia trick on my sweet boy again. Lord have mercy, if I were still walking this earth, I'd snap her legs in two. My eyes shot wide open. My grandma's voice was still yelling inside my head. In the last life, Leah Morgan broke my baby's heart something awful. He had years of misery with her, had a heart attack and nearly died. And where was she? Off celebrating Leo Carter's birthday. Makes my blood boil. Sweetheart, when your grandpa has you pick a wife this time, for the love of God, don't pick Leah Morgan. You pick Sloane Pierce. That girl's got substance. A second later, just as she'd predicted, my grandfather walked into the hospital room with several other family elders. They laid out photos of the heiresses of the city's 4 legacy families and told me to choose a wife. Without a moment's hesitation, I chose my sworn rival, Sloane Pierce. I'm a grandma's boy. If grandma said Leah didn't love me, then I didn't want her anymore. My grandfather looked at me, hesitating. Caleb, aren't you and that young lady like oil and water? Are you sure you want her as your wife? Think this through. Once the engagement is set, there's no turning back. My grandfather was a legend in the world of archaeology, and he'd made a decree. Whichever of the 4 families' daughters married me would secure a massive partnership with our corporation. Leah's mother was in the room, and she looked horrified. She quickly tried to persuade me. Caleb, I know Leah has amnesia and has forgotten you, but you've always loved her the most, haven't you? Why not wait for her? Maybe once you're married, she'll remember everything. Grandma spat. What a load of bull. In the last life, that little snake Leo Carter broke my grandbaby's watch, and Caleb barely said a word about it, but Leah threw him out of the house anyway. My poor boy, wandering around in the rain in his pajamas, nearly froze to death. It was Sloane Pierce who ran out and gave my baby an umbrella, got him a hotel room to warm up in. Sure, she's got a sharp tongue, but her heart's in the right place. Hearing that, a sharp pain lanced through my chest. I didn't understand why Grandma kept talking about a past life or things that hadn't happened, but her words felt like my own experiences. My heart felt heavy, suffocated, as if it were stuffed with lead. Besides, it was true that Leo Carter was Leah's first love. They had a history. I was the one who came later. Grandpa, I've made my choice. I want Sloane Pierce. My grandfather gathered the photos and patted my shoulder. All right, son. I respect your decision. In 2 days, I'll announce your engagement to Sloane Pierce. Grandma let out a long sigh of relief. That's right. This time, my grandbaby is going to be happy. While my grandfather talked business with the elders, I changed my clothes, wanting to get some air. I never expected to find 3 slender, beautiful women standing right outside my door. They were all childhood friends, all candidates to be my wife. Leah was there. Only Sloane was missing. Chloe Davis bounced over to me, her eyes full of curiosity. Caleb, I heard your grandpa is making you pick one of us as your fiancé. Who did you choose? Maya Jones teased. Do you even have to ask? It's obviously Leah. Everyone in our circle knows Caleb is crazy about her. Treats her like a princess. Leah shot me a cool glance. I don't remember the last 3 years. I just remember that Leo is my boyfriend. Her voice softened slightly. But I know that in those 3 years I've lost, we were together. Even though I don't love you now, my father's wishes are my command. Since the engagement is set, I'll marry you. Grandma scoffed. In the last life, she used this fake amnesia to openly flirt with Leo Carter while bleeding my grandbaby dry, stealing the Vance family's assets, and driving him into a depression that killed him. You wicked thing, get out of my sight. I looked at Leah's indifferent expression. Without Grandma's warning, I probably would have fallen for her lies. I truly had loved her, and I once believed she loved me too. Like 3 years ago, when she'd lit up the entire city skyline with fireworks for me. Her gaze was so full of adoration, her words so sweet. Caleb, I want to marry you. I want to make you the happiest man in the world." I had been so moved. We dated, and for 3 years we were the perfect couple. I never imagined that she hadn't forgotten Leo Carter for a single second. She just couldn't afford to offend me, so she put on a show of loving me. Now, I guess she was tired of the act, so she just faked amnesia to openly declare her love for Leo while grudgingly agreeing to marry me to secure the partnership for her family. The world doesn't work like that. I wanted to argue with her, but seeing the smug certainty on her face, I swallowed my words. Let her be proud for a couple of days. I was curious to see her reaction when she heard the truth from my grandfather's own lips. Seeing my silence, Chloe nudged my shoulder. "So, Caleb, you picked Leah, right?" I said flatly, "You'll all know in 2 days." With that, I turned to leave. Behind me, Maya clicked her tongue. "Leah, he definitely picked you. I'm telling you, back when you were really sick, Caleb Vance moved mountains for you. He tracked down every specialist from here to the Mayo Clinic just to get you well. He's absolutely lost his mind over you." "Is that so?" Leah's soft laugh, delicate and charming, drifted to my ears. I had no idea he loved me that much. My heart twisted painfully, but I held back the tears. My love for Leah was an open secret in our circle. Everyone called me a simp, but I didn't care. I lost my parents when I was young, and with my grandparents constantly traveling for their work, I became an easy target for bullies. Only Leah protected me. I'd loved her since we were kids. When she confessed to me, I cried with joy and swore I'd give her the world. But all her kindness had an agenda. She didn't deserve my sincere love. "Caleb, wait." A voice called out from behind me. I turned to see Leah. She clicked toward me in her high heels, her posture radiating arrogance. "I know you just chose me. I'll marry you, but my heart belongs to Leo. I hope you can accept that and not interfere with us." I stared at her. "You have amnesia, remember? What makes you so sure I'd choose you?" Leah's brow furrowed. "They all say you love me. Who else would you choose?" I gave a bitter laugh. So she knew it too. Did she have to trample on my feelings like this? "Don't worry. From now on, I won't bother you. I'll let you two be." And I figured when she found out I'd chosen Sloane, she'd probably be thrilled. Hearing how readily I agreed, Leah froze for a second. I started walking toward the main entrance again. She subconsciously reached for me, but suddenly, a reckless shape on a Vespa shot toward me. The wheel slammed into my leg, and I collapsed to the ground, the skin of my palm scraping against the asphalt. The pain was immediate and blinding. Leo Carter's face went pale. He scrambled off the scooter and tried to help me up. "Caleb, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. Please don't be mad." Before I could say a word, Grandma's furious voice erupted in my head. "That little snake is pure poison. Just like last time, always playing the victim or twisting things around to hurt my grandbaby. He's got Leah wrapped around his little finger. Neither of them are any good." Seeing Leo's eyes turn red with panic, Leah's heart clearly went out to him. "It's okay, Leo. It's a small thing. No one's going to blame you while I'm here." She helped him up, then shot me a warning look. "He just bumped into you. You're not going to make a federal case out of it, are you?" My arm was scraped raw. I gritted my teeth against the pain and pushed myself to my feet. Leo looked at me with a pained expression. "I'm sorry, Caleb. It was my fault. I'll slap myself to make it up to you." He raised his hand as if to hit his own face. Leah grabbed his arm, then rounded on me. "Caleb Vance, it was an accident. Can you stop throwing your weight around and bullying people for once?" Grandma was even angrier. "Empty-headed girl. My grandbaby hasn't said a single word, and that little viper is the one putting on a show. How dare she say my Caleb is bullying him? Lord, give me strength. Get boy. Light up." Heeding her words, I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand and slapped Leo hard across the face. Then I looked at Leah. "See, that's called throwing my weight around." Leo was stunned. Leah was also frozen, her eyes turning to ice. "Caleb, you've gone too far." I swung my hand again, landing a sharp slap on her cheek as well. And that's called going too far. For all these years, I had spoiled her rotten. We'd never had a real fight. My sudden violence left her completely stunned. Leah stared at me, her teeth clenched. "Fine. Just fine. But you'll regret laying a hand on me." She turned to Leo. "Come on, I'll take you to get checked out." Grandma's voice dripped with sarcasm. Instead of caring for my poor, injured grandbaby, she's worried about some other man. "You'll be the one with regrets for being with a blockhead like that." "Oh, my poor baby, you just got hurt. It must hurt so much, right?" I looked down at my arm. Dark red blood was already seeping through the torn skin. The bitterness and hurt I'd been suppressing finally came bubbling to the surface. Back in school, whenever I got hurt, Leah would be frantic with worry, wishing she could take all the pain for me. Maybe her love for me was fake, but the friendship back then had to be real. Now she saw me injured and didn't even blink. She just defended the man she truly loved, terrified I might give him a hard time. What Grandma said felt more and more real. Even if I married her, I'd just be repeating the same mistakes, heading for the same disastrous end. I went to find a nurse to bandage my hand. I noticed a few of them whispering and looking in the same direction, so I followed their gaze. Just around a partition, I saw Leo and Leah wrapped in a hug, their eyes full of a blurry intimacy. I heard his soft voice. "Leah, if Caleb finds out you faked amnesia just so you could be with me openly, he'd flip out, wouldn't he?" Leah pinched his cheek. "So what if he knows? Everyone knows Caleb Vance is crazy about me. Even with amnesia, he'll be begging me to marry him." Grandma snorted. "In your dreams. My sweet boy didn't choose you this time. He won't be begging you for anything." "Humph. Let's see how smug you are in 2 days when the real engagement is announced." I smiled, but there was no warmth on my pale face. Not wanting to hear any more, I clutched my bandaged hand and walked away. Just then, for some reason, the crowd started screaming. "Those people have knives. Everybody run." The words ignited chaos. I instinctively ran with the crowd, but one of the assailants, a patient lashing out in a violent episode, grabbed me and swung a blade at me. I'd just been injured, and fighting back was difficult. Seeing Leah notice the commotion, I didn't care about pride anymore. I yelled her name. "Leah, help me." She'd studied Krav Maga. She could handle herself. Instinctively, Leah started to move toward me, but Leo grabbed her hand and refused to let go. "Leah, I'm scared. Please don't go, okay?" Leah stopped. In that single moment of hesitation, a new gash was added to my already injured arm. I sucked in a sharp breath against the pain. Grandma was frantic. Oh Lord, that hospital attack was a nasty one last time. Why did my grandbaby have to get caught in it today? That wicked girl, Leah. Pretending to have amnesia doesn't mean she forgot everything. My boy would have walked through fire for her, and she won't even save him? That's just too cruel. I was losing strength fast from the pain. I bit down hard and yelled at Leah again. "Leah, I'm begging you, help me. I'm going to die." The words had barely left my mouth when Leo let out a cry. One of the attackers lunged toward them. Almost instantly, Leah threw herself in front of Leo, shielding him as they ran away. My mind went blank. I watched stunned as she protected her true love and fled, and a wave of despair washed over me. Even if the love was gone, I had loved her for so many years. I had been so good to her. In a life-or-death moment, couldn't she show me even a shred of pity? Couldn't she help me just once? Suddenly, the weight on me was gone. Sloane Pierce kicked the man off me, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me through the chaos toward the exit. "Move." The scene was a mess, but security arrived quickly and subdued the attackers. I still hadn't recovered, my eyes glazed over. Sloane handed me a cup of warm water, her expression complicated as she looked at me. I didn't notice her mood or even wonder how she'd gotten there. I just numbly mumbled my thanks. News of the incident reached my grandfather quickly. He was furious and demanded an explanation from both the Morgan and Carter families. The Carters immediately grounded Leo and sent people over with apology gifts. The Morgans were livid, forcing Leah to come to my house and apologize in person. That evening, Leah walked in and tossed a basket of supplements onto the table, her face grim. "Caleb, today's incident had nothing to do with Leo. It was my fault for not saving you. Why are you making him take the blame? Are you using this for personal revenge?" I held up my arm, which was wrapped in thick bandages. "You see this, Leah?" She faltered for a second, then argued back. "But you're not dead, are you? Everyone knows you're the precious heir of the Vance family. You could have just yelled, and a dozen bodyguards would have come running. But Leo, he only has me. You saw it today, he almost got hurt too. Can you please stop being so hostile toward him? Go talk to your grandfather. Get him to lift Leo's punishment. If you don't, I'm calling off our engagement." Leah's tone was forceful, as if she were certain I would yield. I was completely and utterly done with her. I didn't even have the energy to argue. Security, show her out. Leah was escorted out by several large security guards. As she left, she threw one last furious line over her shoulder. "Caleb Vance, don't you regret this?" The next day, Leah didn't try to contact me. My grandfather took my engagement very seriously, throwing the largest party the Vance family had ever hosted. All 4 legacy families were in attendance. I entered the ballroom in a tailored suit. Leah was standing in the middle of the room, with Leo by her side, a brilliant smile on his face. I was slightly surprised. How did Leo get out of being grounded? Grandma sneered. Leah probably went to the Carter family and threw her weight around, moving heaven and earth to get him out. Never saw her put that much effort into my sweet boy. The black-hearted little witch. Leah glanced at me once, then coldly looked away. Leo shot me a triumphant smirk. People around us were whispering, "Why is Leah Morgan giving Caleb Vance the cold shoulder? And she's so close with that Carter kid. I heard a rumor that Miss Pierce likes Caleb too. Maybe there's a twist to this engagement." No way. Even though Leah has amnesia and only recognizes Leo as her boyfriend, Caleb is head over heels for her. He'd die for her. The Vance family's daughter-in-law has to be Leah Morgan. Sloane Pierce's cool gaze swept over the gossipers, and they flinched, quickly moving away. My grandfather, beaming, called me up to the stage and handed me the microphone. "Caleb, this is your engagement party. A life-changing event like this. You should be the one to make the announcement." "All right." I took the mic, feeling an intense gaze on me. It was Leah. I gave her a small smile, and I saw her posture tense. I raised my voice, addressing the crowd. "Thank you all for coming to my engagement party. I would like to take this opportunity to formally introduce you all to my fiancée. My fiancée is the daughter of the Pierce family, Sloane Pierce." The entire room fell silent. It was as if the air itself had frozen. Maya Jones stared at me, her face a mask of disbelief. "Caleb, did you misspeak? Isn't your fiancée supposed to be Leah Morgan? How could it possibly be Sloane Pierce?" A murmur of agreement went through the crowd. No one could believe I hadn't chosen Leah. I didn't misspeak. The fiancée I chose personally is Sloane Pierce. I walked off the stage and presented Sloane with the family's antique compass pendant, a symbol passed down through generations. Her expression was complex, and her hand hovered, not taking it. My heart leapt into my throat. "You don't want to." Sloane stayed quiet for a moment, then a smile spread across her face. "I'd be honored. This is a privilege for both me and my family." She slipped the pendant into her pocket and gave my grandfather a respectful nod. The knot in my chest finally loosened. Everyone in the room was a master of social politics. The second they saw how things turned out, they quickly flipped, showering me with insincere congratulations. "Oh, I always thought Mr. Vance and Miss Pierce were a perfect match. A match made in heaven." Grandma snorted in my head. "A minute ago, you were calling my grandbaby a simp. Now you're singing a different tune. Liars get struck by lightning, you know." "Exactly. You can tell she's the woman Mr. Vance chose." So elegant. She stands in a crowd, and she's just on a different level from everyone else. Grandma scoffed again. Humph. Didn't you just say Sloane was a stone-faced shrew no man would ever want? Now you're praising her to the high heavens. All this phoniness is giving me a headache. For every fake compliment, Grandma had a comeback in my head. I couldn't help it. I let out a small laugh. Sloane's eyebrow arched. What's so funny? For some reason, a mischievous impulse rose up in me. I sighed dramatically. I'm just so happy I'm going to marry you. My words caught Sloane off guard. The tips of her ears turned a deep shade of red. Grandma chuckled. Well, look at that. I didn't think that girl could blush. Honestly, neither did I. I never thought I'd see the day Sloane Pierce got flustered. She was usually all sharp words and cold glares, her sarcasm always cutting straight through me. I remembered years ago, when one of Leah's friends teased me and stole the watch my mother had given me. I couldn't find Leah anywhere, and I was too weak to fight him for it. All I could do was stand there, furious and on the verge of tears. Then Sloane appeared, slammed the kid against a wall, and snatched my watch back. I was overjoyed, ready to thank her when she sneered. Pathetic. Leah Morgan is a flake. Relying on her is like relying on nothing. You're better off on your own. Her cold words hit me like ice water, stinging my heart. I ended up running away, crying. That was Sloane. Brutal with her words, yet somehow always there when I needed her. I used to secretly hate her for it. Much later, when I mentioned her to my grandmother, she smiled and told me some people show they care in roundabout ways. I didn't get it then, but I understood now. Sloane had seen through Leah's act all along, but instead of telling me directly, she used her thorny personality to draw my attention. After years of being the target of her sharp tongue, seeing her blush now made me itch to tease her more. I leaned closer. Aren't you happy to marry me? Of course I'm happy. It's an honor. But could you maybe back up a little? You're too close. Her face stayed composed, but her ears, red enough to bleed, gave her away. I playfully pinched one. Sloane jumped back like a startled cat, then quickly composed herself. I'm going to the restroom. Wait here. With that, she fled like she was escaping a fire. Grandma sighed in my head. If only that girl could stay this shy. Without all those sharp words, she's actually quite charming. I nodded. Then I looked up and my eyes met Leah's. She must have seen the whole interaction. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with disbelief. Leo had to nudge her several times before she even reacted. Grandma laughed. She wasn't happy when you chose her, and she's not happy now that you didn't. That's people for you. They never know what they have until it's gone. I ignored Leah, exchanged pleasantries with a few guests, and reached for my jacket, planning to get some fresh air. But then a hand clutched my arm. Leah's resentful eyes locked onto mine. Why Sloane Pierce? When did you two get together? I yanked my arm free, my voice dripping with scorn. Watch your words. What I do is none of your business. And if my fiancé isn't Sloane, then who else would it be? Leah's lips trembled. But we were together. You loved me, didn't you? I looked at her amused. You're the one with amnesia, remember? You said you only remember Leo. You were the one who asked me to let you be with him. Weren't you? Yes, she had been the one who asked. So why did her heart now feel so chaotic, like she was about to lose something precious? Leah opened her mouth slowly. I can feel that I still love you. We have history. Maybe if we get married, spend a few years together, I'll remember everything. Almost at once, Grandma shouted in my head. Still lying to my grandbaby. Shameless. I had no interest in watching Leah's act anymore. I laid my cards on the table. Leah, has anyone ever told you that faking amnesia to have your cake and eat it too is actually pathetic? Leah froze, her fingers tightening on my sleeve. How did you know? I shook her hand off in disgust. I already gave you what you wanted. Stop harassing me, Leah. By the time she snapped out of her shock, I was already halfway across the room. She tried to follow, but Leo grabbed her arm and held her back. Leah bit her lip and shouted after me, "Sloane Pierce is no saint either. Practically everyone in our circle can't stand her. I hope you'll think twice." I didn't slow down. "I can make my own judgments," I called back coldly. "I chose her and she's worth it." Leah was stunned into silence, then muttered furiously, "Marry her. You'll regret it." "Sorry, but I won't." Grandma applauded in my head. "Good boy. Getting more handsome every day. Just like I was back in my prime." I stepped out onto the balcony, leaning against the railing to feel the evening breeze. After a moment, someone joined me, bright eyes watching. "Didn't I tell you to wait inside? What are you doing out here?" I turned to Sloane. "Doesn't this feel like our college days?" All the heirs of the 4 families had gone to the same university. When we didn't have class, we'd often hang out by the windows, enjoying the breeze. Most of the time, it was me and Leah. Sometimes, when she didn't want to come, I'd come alone, and occasionally run into Sloane. Back then, I resented her sharp words and her obvious dislike of Leah, so we fought almost every time we crossed paths. But out here, in the quiet evenings, she would sometimes just sit silently, enjoying the peace with me. Sloane handed me a can of beer, cracked one open for herself, and took a long drink. I could tell something was on her mind, so I waited. As expected, she spoke first. "We've put on a good enough show. When are you planning on telling everyone the truth?" I frowned. "What truth?" "I'm serious about marrying you." Sloane gave a self-deprecating laugh, a flicker of sadness in her eyes. "You don't have to lie to me. You've always been in love with Leah, haven't you? I'm guessing this whole engagement is just to make her jealous. The second she comes running back, you'll drop me, won't you?" Her words stirred a strange mix of guilt and irritation. Grandma chuckled. "Hit the nail on the head. Bless her heart. The girl's jealous." My irritation vanished. I took Sloane's hand. "What if I told you," I said softly, "that I'm serious?" She tried to pull away, but I held on. Her eyes glistened as if she were holding something back. "Caleb Vance, are you sure? Are you sure you're over Leah Morgan, and you truly want to marry me?" I frowned. "What else? Are you saying you don't want to marry me?" Before I could say more, she pulled me into an embrace, holding me tight, pouring all her feelings into it. Her voice, softer and more tender than I'd ever heard, whispered in my ear. Sloane said, "I do." Our wedding was set for a week later. What happened at the party melted the chill between Sloane and me almost instantly. So when she asked me out to dinner, I didn't hesitate to say yes. We had barely stepped into the mall when 2 familiar figures appeared. The second Leah spotted me with Sloane. Her brow furrowed sharply. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. Sloane lifted an eyebrow, her voice sharp to match. "If you two can wander around the mall together, why can't 2 newlyweds-to-be spend some quality time together?" She deliberately stressed the words newlyweds-to-be, and Leah's expression immediately soured. "I have nothing to do with him. Don't talk nonsense." It was the first time Leah had ever denied her connection to Leo. He looked wounded, but he didn't dare say a word. Grandma's voice rang clear in my head. "The girl's a mess. Can't even admit what she wants. Always wants to have it both ways." I silently agreed. I was tired of Leah's endless drama. I just wanted to move on with my life. Without giving her a chance to say more, I guided Sloane straight into the restaurant. Sloane ordered with an easy flourish. When I took the menu afterward, I was surprised to see she had already picked out all of my favorite dishes. She caught my intense gaze and cleared her throat. "You mentioned them once a while ago." I just remembered. Her thoughtfulness left me stunned. A memory hit me then. When Leah and I had dated, she could never remember my severe peanut allergy. Time and time again she would order dishes with peanuts in them. I had reminded her countless times, but she'd always just laugh, apologize, and brush it off with, "Sorry, I've got such a bad memory." At the time, I believed her. It wasn't until much later that I realized the person who actually loved peanuts was Leo. The difference between being loved and not being loved was glaringly obvious. Sloane's cheeks flushed pink under my stare, and she quickly shifted the subject. "There's a new ice cream place downstairs that's supposed to be really good. Want to try it?" When I nodded, she hurried off, almost as if another second under my gaze would make her face explode from blushing. Grandma chuckled in the back of my mind. "This one's interesting. Looks like my grandbaby is going to be well taken care of." I didn't disagree. But then someone slid into the seat across from me. I looked up with a smile, which immediately froze when I realized it was Leah. "What is it?" I asked flatly. Her voice was urgent. "Caleb, your wedding is in 10 days. There's still time. Call off the engagement with Sloane right now, go talk to your grandfather, and I'll start preparing my dowry to marry you immediately." Grandma muttered darkly, "She's like a ghost you can't shake." I stared at Leah like she'd lost her mind. Why would I call off my wedding? And why would I marry you? For a moment, Leah was speechless. Then she said, "I admit I was wrong to lie to you. And I know you only proposed to her to make me angry. You've always loved me, right? If you just call it off now, I can marry you right away." Those 3 words, "marry you," had once been all I'd ever wanted to hear from her. But after she had repeatedly put me in danger for Leo's sake, my heart had turned to ice. I gave her a cold, cutting look. "Whether you were faking amnesia or begging me to let you go, wasn't it all just to get rid of me? I hear your family's business is doing better these days. You don't need our money or our partnership anymore. So why go to all this trouble to marry me now?" Her eyes darted away. She couldn't explain it. She only knew that without me, she felt an emptiness she couldn't fill. I let out a long breath. "I don't care what you're thinking. I'm getting married in 10 days. The past is the past. Don't bother me again. Please leave." But Leah just sat there, head bowed, silent yet refusing to leave. Just then, Sloane's playful voice floated over. "Well, look who it is. Having a little reunion with my husband in here while your boyfriend stands waiting all alone outside? That doesn't seem very appropriate." The tension in the air crackled. Leah sneered. "Don't get too cocky. Caleb and I have history. What are you?" Sloane didn't even flinch. She picked up the teapot and calmly poured Leah some tea. "History is one thing, but importance is another. And as it happens, I'm the one who's more important to Caleb." Leah scoffed. "And how can you be so sure you're the important one when I'm clearly, Before she could finish, the tea from Sloane's pot accidentally spilled onto her. Sloane's face filled with polite apology. "My hand slipped just now. I'm so sorry, I didn't do it on purpose." Her calm attitude only stoked Leah's fury. She shot up from her seat, knocking over the teapot on the table. Scalding tea splashed across Sloane's arm. That was it. I saw red. I shoved Leah back from the table. "Are you trying to start a scene?" Leah scrambled to explain. "It wasn't me." She didn't close the lid properly. I ignored her completely, my chest tightening as I took in Sloane's reddened skin. I called a waiter for a first aid kit and tended to her burn myself, refusing to spare Leah even a glance. Her voice cracked. "Caleb, I got burned too, look." Finally, I looked up at her, my face storm dark. "Right. Now. Get out." Leah's lips trembled like she wanted to argue, but my expression froze her in place. Terrified, she bit down hard, then stormed off in a huff. After that, the wedding preparations went smoothly. When Sloane and I picked out rings, Grandma cheered for the biggest, most beautiful diamond. When we chose our wedding attire, she kept saying how handsome I looked, just like Grandpa in his day. Through it all, Grandma stayed by my side, and her presence gave me a strange, steady comfort. On our wedding day, after Sloane and I exchanged rings, I heard Grandma's soft weeping in my mind. To have lived to see this day. I can die with no regrets. I wanted to tell her not to cry, but I remembered she couldn't hear me. More guests began arriving to congratulate us. Sloane stood to greet them, but I quickly stopped her. Sloane, you've been running around all day. It's my turn now. She started to protest, but I firmly pressed her back into her chair. She let out a little sigh of defeat. All right. You go. There's a lot of traffic out there, be careful. I nodded and headed outside. The line of cars was indeed long. As I stood by the road greeting people, a voice suddenly rang out from the crowd. Look out. I froze, then turned just in time to see a car hurtling straight at me. My body was thrown hard to the ground, and everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in a hospital bed. Sloane was gripping my hand, her voice trembling. Thank God you're okay. The doctor said you were lucky this time. Just some scrapes. You'll be out of here soon. But you have to be more careful. I was so worried about you. She pulled me into a tight hug. As I slowly wrapped my arms around her, I felt a strange emptiness, like something was missing. Then it struck me like lightning. Grandma. I let go of Sloane and immediately pulled up my message history with Leah. The last message was still there. I only recognize Leo as my boyfriend. If Grandma had seen that, she would have gone on a tirade. But now my mind was silent. No matter how hard I tried to reach her, she wasn't there. A dawning sadness filled me. She was truly gone. She had seen me marry the right person, and now, finally at peace, she had moved on. 3 days later, my grandfather took Sloane and me to visit Grandma's grave. After we paid our respects, Grandpa sighed. You two go on ahead. I have some things I want to say to her alone. Sloane and I exchanged a glance and quietly left. At the gravesite, only my grandfather remained. He traced his fingers over the name carved into the stone. You came to me in a dream the other night, he said softly. Told me that in a past life our grandson married the wrong person, that he was miserable, and it broke your heart. You said you were cashing in a lifetime of good deeds to give him a second chance, to help him live differently this time. He sighed. You and your wild ideas. Sounds like something out of a novel. But it was a beautiful thought, all for our grandson's happiness. Don't you worry, my love. As long as I'm alive, I'll protect our boy. And if the day comes when I join you, Sloane will be there for him. You can rest easy now. Grandpa stayed speaking to her for a long time, then finally patted the headstone. I'll see you next year. 5 years slipped by in a blur. Sloane and I now had an adorable daughter, and our love was stronger than ever. The group that visited Grandma's grave had grown. There were 3 of us now. Sloane held our daughter, Lily, and knelt gently by the headstone. I smiled and introduced her. Grandma, this is our daughter, Lily. We hoped her life could be just as sweet as her name. The baby, bundled in blankets, gazed around at the world with wide, curious eyes. Grandpa and Sloane both laughed. Let me hold her. Grandpa reached his arms out immediately. Sloane turned away with a frown. Grandpa, you've been holding her the whole time. It's my turn. Oh, what's wrong with a little more grandpa time? Come on, give her here. I covered my mouth, grinning as I watched the 2 of them bicker like children. A smile spread across my face. Nearby, a small bird perched on a branch had been watching the 3 of them for a long time. At last, it spread its wings and soared into the sky, flying away.